Good evening, everyone. Welcome to your latest Wolves Fancast match preview. If you've forgotten who I am, I'm Little Dan. I haven't been doing the show for the last couple of months. I'm absolutely buzzing to be back on the show tonight after Sunday's fantastic win at the Swamp over West Bromwich Albion just proclaim as pride of the Black Country again after so many years. It's been a long time coming. On tonight's show, I've got with me Jeffo. Andy and Tom Baker's joined us again, who joined us previously on the Match Fancasts. The latest news that's come out of Molyneux today is the imminent signing of Noah Lemina. We did release a picture of him holding the Wolves shirt earlier on. You can see it on screen there with a few family members. It is expected that he'll only be in the academy as a start-off point, but obviously with the experience and sort of help that his brother Mario Lemina will hopefully provide him. He could be a future star. What's your thoughts on the Noah Lemina signing, Andy?
I think it's great to have a young lad in when his older brother's here to help him through the murky world of Premier League football. Like, you couldn't have a better grounding really than having your big brother here, especially when that big brother is someone who has really sort of ingratiated himself into the local area. So I think it's a really good signing. I've heard good positive things. Obviously, I haven't seen anything of him, but like, the future looks bright here. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, hopefully. Obviously, his brother has been one of the better signings of the Falcon era in the last sort of 2 years. Tom, what's your thoughts on Noah?
To be fair, I haven't seen much of him, but what I would say is he probably gives kudos to how highly Lemina thinks and how well he's settled at the club, if you see what I mean. Because for him to say to his younger brother, come get settled, be together, you know what's happened with his dad and all that, it probably, for me, I mean, look how good Lemina is, right? So it probably shows how committed Lemina is to the club and what an opportunity for him to develop. But as I say, I haven't actually seen him play that much. I don't know. Have you done it all? Or?
No, I'm not even going to try and blag my way out of this. He's obviously come with a bit of a pedigree. He hasn't really had the greatest loan spell in Italy, has he, Jeffo, with Noah Lemina? But obviously he's got a bit of potential if he was on PSG's books. Jeffo?
I mean, he comes in with a background. He did well when he was in France. Italy's difficult for any young player to go and play and develop. But he comes in now. He's obviously been announced in the last sort of 10 minutes or so. So it looks to me on paper like the club have done something for Mario, especially with everything, as you say, Tom, has happened with the family in the last couple of months, especially with everything with their dad. And so bringing him in, it's a no-brainer. It's low risk. If he does well, we sign him for a pittance, really, in this day and age. And the two guys are together. They can support each other through a difficult time. And the club have done the right thing, especially from a welfare point of view. So hats off to them for that, and big applause for them.
Yeah, hopefully it'll come in as a good transfer when we look on this in a few years' time. But let's talk about last Sunday's game for a few moments, because as I said, I haven't been on the Fancast for a while. I've not been on a review show for God knows how many years now. It's felt like. Andy, you were sort of a young nipper like myself when we last won there in 1996. Talk about your day and your feelings over that win on Sunday.
It's been a long time coming, hasn't it? Like, I feel like I remember that Ewan Roberts hat-trick like it was yesterday, because it's literally all we've had to hang on for 28 years, was it? Is that how it works out to? Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. So to go there and not really have to get out of second gear either, it was just incredible. Like, the whole event of the day, I mean, I know we had that bit of a sour patch towards the end, but the fans were in good voice, regardless of what dickheads on Twitter want to say about it. All you could hear was the Wolves fans on the ITV coverage. It was exciting. It was uplifting. It felt like we put that demon to bed somewhat, and we can move on and enjoy the rest of the season now.
Yeah, it was really enjoyable. I'll talk about my experience of the day in a moment. Tom, obviously you watched it in Wolverhampton. Was it the Hangar or the Astoria?
The Astoria, yeah. What can I say about the day? It's probably, I don't want to get too overexcited. It's probably got to be in the top 5 days of my life ever. I know we're on 2 different trajectories technically as a club. But as you say, that length, 26 or 28 years or however long it was, and the passion, the rivalry, and you know what it's like. You go to school with Baggies fans, we grow up around Baggies fans. And I went to school in Warsaw, so there tended to be a lot more Albion, Villa, etc. So there's just that little fire inside me that, slightly outnumbered. And look, we're Wolverhampton born and bred. So to go to their ground, in my opinion, boss the game, because they never really looked like they were going to score. They just did a lot of huff and puff. And then for the Neto goal, the breakaway, and for Doherty to slide it, I'm reliving it in my head. Well, I know that 2 a.m. hangover probably left me about 2 hours ago because Tommy got overexcited. But definitely my top 5 days of all time. Just absolutely loved it. Slightly tarnished, I know, with the crowd trouble, but look, the media take that. That's all they're going to talk about and escalate that. There was a lot of good points about that. And I think for the local community to get the buzz and everything like that. And kudos to Gary O'Neill as well, because it's been a little bit of a kind of, where are we going, what we're doing, we're lost kind of. Now we're playing exciting football. Now we're back on track, and we've beat the bloody Albion as well. So, love it.
Just giving me a mental semi there, Tom. I'm not going to lie. Looking at that, just looking back at that squad line up there, Jeffo, and obviously those soldiers that our match day designer Kieran Munn at Munn AI on Twitter and munai.dzn on Instagram. Just talk about your day, how much it meant to you that we got that win over the shite.
I mean, it's huge, isn't it? I mean, it just lives with us forever. And the thing is, when we should have done it, when the COVID season, we should have smashed them. Then we were so much better as a squad, and it's just frustrating that we couldn't do it, and we didn't pick up a win in either of those 2 games. But for us to come and do it in their own backyard, and they still thought they could do it. They still. Even the ounces of themselves thought that they could still do us over. That's a lot of bullshit. We're so much better. Gary O'Neill is just this for a man who shouldn't be as inspirational as he is somebody who carries himself in such a fantastic way and inspires people to lift themselves up and play and to fight and to, these players now, they are passionate to wear the shirt. And, you've got people like Kilman who, we bought him into the club, but he's still growing up around the club. You got Doherty's been and come back. Jose Sarr, who's a complete nutcase, who absolutely gives everything when he's involved on that pitch. You've seen the gifs and videos of him thumping the air. It just makes you passionate and proud to be a Wolves fan again. And just little moments like this. I know I say little moments, it's not a little moment, but it's a little tiny microcosm of everything that's good about the club at the moment. It just makes you want to scream the fact that you're a Wolves fan again, and I can't be more happy and proud to wear the badge and to tell people about the club.
I think that's one of the main things for me as a Wolves fan at the moment is how much I'm enjoying this group of players in this new cycle that we're within. There doesn't seem to be any sort of marquee players. I know Cunha cost more than what Albion's worth in today's market as a club. But there doesn't seem to be a sort of an ego within this club. They all seem to be pulling in the same direction. There's a resilience you've seen in previous years when we've gone 1-0 down. If we was to scrape a 1-1 draw, we would have been pleased with that. But even at 1-0 down, now you still fancy us to get a good result out of it, not just a draw, but you fancy us to go on to win the game. You look at Brentford away in the FA Cup, down to 10 men for 80 plus minutes. And for me, I still think we should have won that game with the chances and the pressure that we put on that Brentford side on the night. Just talking about sort of my day on Sunday, just an unreal day from start to finish. Got in the Og's Head at 8 o'clock. Had a few Southern Comforts before we'd even left Wolverhampton. Was already a bit tipsy by the time we got to West Brom. You see the sort of the flood of old gold as you get off the coaches and whatnot. I said hello to a few policemen, like West Midlands Police asked. I thought to see how they were getting on, as we were told to do. I did a bit of a Steve Collins, Chris Eubank back in the day when we was in the ground with like half an hour to kick off, and then the showing all the old West Brom goals past Wolves over the years. Just got my back to the screen, just deafening it out. I wasn't giving them an inch on Sunday. Come full time when we'd got the victory, I was literally emotionally spent. I didn't even have one alcoholic drink after the game on Sunday because I literally put in the hard yards during that match. I was tapping people on the shoulder, slapping them on the back at half time, saying, "Come on, we ain't won this yet. Keep getting behind the lads." Neto's goal was just an unreal moment. I've mentioned to a few people now. I was going to say I was sat in row C. I was stood in row CC. I'm in row A for both goals. There's one video where you see me flying down the stairs and literally a Dana Traore pace, row CC to row A in 9 seconds. The Cunha goal was just an absolute unreal moment. That celebration is literally gonna live long in history. I must have done it about 15 times to the Albion fan at work today on my return to work because I had Monday off. It's been an emotional few days, but like I said, it was just so. It was more an air of relief on top of excitement when I came into work yesterday. Because going into work, if we would have lost that game, like Jeff said, just they genuinely believe they had a chance, and you know, it's still 11 versus 11, but I genuinely thought going into that match, if Neto and Cunha played a 7 out of 10 each, we'd easily win that game. And like Andy mentioned, we kept them at arm's length for the majority. I think we defended pretty well. I never really felt like their goal was coming. And you look at the stats, we're really good at defending our 18-yard box. So I just want to say thanks to Gary because he's a top bloke. I want to say thanks to the players because that win on Sunday, like I said, it's up there. The demon of 5-1, the ghost of 3-0 at Molineux. That's quashed now. All I'll do to you Wolves fans out there is implore you, do not let them forget Sunday. Any content you see, whether it's Wolves Fancast, Talking Wolves, Dazzling Day, Wolfpack, 77 Club, keep retweeting it, keep throwing it down their faces on Twitter because they've had 12 years of giving it large to our faces. It's time to pay the piper.
Ready to stand up and salute. Yeah.
This is Wolves Fancast in association with Audi, Shoot Music Promotions and the Boston Coffee Company. It's time to talk about tomorrow's game. At home to Man United. Gary O'Neill in today's press conference revealed that Pablo Sarabia is now fit and he'll be available for the game tomorrow. Ryan Aït-Nouri, who returned up from the AFCON off the bench on Sunday, is likely to feature as he's 100% fit, Gary O'Neill says. And obviously João Gomez will be making his return after suspension. Just going to mention a couple of comments from the people who join us on live on YouTube. Russell Baker's mentioning who thought Dan would be the guy to pull you from the grasp of the authority. Quick story. Cunha scores, makes it 2-0. I've run from CC to row A. I see my good friend Russell being accosted by stewards because he's been a naughty boy and crossed the barrier. I pull him back in with these absolute guns. But the stewards have got him round the throat. I go, let him go. And for some reason, the steward let him go. A moment, Russell still got to pay me back. D. Marsden's talking about Kilman's celebration for Cunha's goal was the most emotion I've ever seen him show. Was incredible. Kilman was my man of the match on Sunday. Who was your man of the match on Sunday, Tom?
Oh, good question. Go to someone else. Let me have a think because I want to get it spot on.
I don't think it wasn't a great game technically for the neutral. Was like I said, I think we kept them at arm's length. We defended well. We broke well when we had the opportunities. I never really felt that their goal was coming. That there was always going to have quite a few corners and
do you know what I might say?
Long throws in the box. Tommy Doyle was exceptional on Sunday. We did put his stats out on the review show on Sunday. 100% tackles won, 84% pass completion, 2 interceptions, 1 key pass. He did literally run the midfield on Sunday, Tom.
To do that as well, I mean, I know, look, he's from Man City, right? So he's obviously got something about him. But to do that at the Hawthorns, do you know what I mean? Like, with that atmosphere, to be in the centre of the pitch is arguably probably the hardest, and the most influential on the pitch. Yeah, Tommy Doyle for me.
What about you, Andy?
I completely agree with Tom, to be honest. I thought Tommy Doyle was fantastic. you're right. Like the fact that he's in a bit of a cauldron, he's up in that corner taking corner kicks, getting bottles of piss thrown at him and what have you. And he just sort of has this grin on his face, like, I'm going to make you pay for this. And he did. He put in a hell of a performance. Barely put a foot wrong all game. He was outstanding. And for 4.5 million with whatever sell-on clause we've got, that's going to be a steal for us.
Yeah, obviously Man City have got a 50% sell-on clause with that transfer deal, but like you said, for that transfer fee and in today's market, if he does go on to join another club who may be potentially hiring us in the division in 2 to 3 years' time, you're looking 20-30 million for a centre midfielder of that calibre. Obviously, England midfielder. He was in the under-21 squad that won the last tournament as well. So, like saying, he's got potential to be an unreal signing from a transfer value, pound for pound signing. Jeff, how these two have gone for Tommy Doyle as man of the match. I went for Max Kilman. Where does your vote go?
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you. I'd probably go Max Kilman. I thought he looked the most assured he's probably ever looked. He looked the most like a leader he's ever looked. And he looked, as I think it's said in the comments by Dean, I think he looked the most passionate he has in a Wolves shirt. And to see him do what he did and play the way he did, unreal.
I mean, it does. I mean, Andy, you know this like better than most here. For me to give Max Kilman this much praise after all these years, he is for me really coming to the forefront now of being a well-worthy leader. People at the start of the season saying they needed more of a shouty man after slating Conor Cody for being a shouty man the last 18 months or whatever it was. He's really doing the job as a captain now, and obviously he's got Craig Dawson next to him, who's, you know, he's theoretically captain material, isn't he? The way he leads on the pitch and his organisation skills. But what more has Max Kilman got to do to get in England call up, Andy?
I think it was, I think Gully said it the other day, the issue that he faces is England are very much a system team and they will just bring in the next player ready for the system. And I don't know if Kilman is going to fit that particular system. I think he would rather go with someone who's got a Man United appearance or, you know, one of the big teams as well. I think being a Wolves player probably does hold him back somewhat. I mean, you look at Cody, who for a long time was one of the best centre of three, and he barely got a kick for England. It was ridiculous. So I wonder if that plays into Southgate's thinking. But you are right, he deserves a chance at least to show what he can do in an England shirt, because even though he still gets a bit of abuse, I don't get it, because he has been exceptional for us. He's been as good as any other defender in this league this season. Yeah,
I think I do fall into that sort of category of Wolves fan. I don't know what the terminology of it is, but if his name was, you know, Maximiliano Kilmanovic or whatever, I'd have been writing him years ago. But, you know, players from the academy just don't seem to have that je ne sais quoi when it comes to me, and I'm wrong for doing that, but he's really come to the forefront now, and hopefully he's captain for a good few more years to come, because if he's still captain at Wolves in the next 2-3 years, we're still on a good trajectory, because I think if he gets the opportunity to go to a good side, he's willing to relinquish the captaincy, which means he's got to have joined a good side in order to relinquish that for me. Let's get back to tomorrow's game, because Stu in the comments section has asked, are Man United as much of a joke now as the Liverpool Spice Boys were in the 90s? They played Newport County in the FA Cup last week and came through a bit of a tough test in the end, winning 4-2 after being 2-0 up and being pulled back to 2-2. You look at the squad that they put out there, Jeffo, not really many of their starting line missing, apart from maybe, Onana, really. That's as strong as they possibly can be at the moment, apart from maybe Rashford. But you've heard the stories coming out of United over the last week about him partying in Belfast on a school night. Are they becoming a bit of a joke like Liverpool were in the 90s, Jeffo?
I was talking to somebody about it today, weirdly enough, and I just look at them and I just think it's easy to point and put a point in history for United of where they changed, but since Ferguson gone, they just haven't had identity. And the problem is now that they're bringing managers who, through the years, who wanted to do things. The only person they bought in terms of management, who could actually put an identity on a club from top to bottom, is really only Louis van Gaal, and they didn't stick with him, and he's probably the most successful manager that they've had since Ferguson was gone, in terms of bringing trophies in and putting success, and just having something that from the top to the bottom of the club where they can bring players through and have something to be passionate about, which is what the United model was through the late 90s and early 2000s. And bringing in players in that sort of 8 to 10 to 12 million pound price bracket who did amazing, like Evra, Vidic, who were able to, perform above and beyond and to improve the club. They haven't done. And having sort of any sort of like bringing through an identity from under 21s through to the first team has just been lost. United are just a club who just buy the most expensive players they can and just field whatever team, because at the end of the day, they've not brought in a group of players who can perform together. And Ten Hag, he's trying to do something, but to do what he wants to do, he has to rip up what Solskjaer did and everyone that came before that, because they're still there. And okay, getting rid of De Gea was the first step, but De Gea is such a goalkeeper a level above of Onana. So to take 3 steps forward, he's took 10 steps back. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think the big statement that still stands out for me from a Manchester United point of view is Jose Mourinho saying finishing second with Man United is one of his biggest managerial achievements, because Man United, for me as a club at the moment, they are still that old saying that, that the fish rots from the head. Obviously, Ineos have now come in, brought a bit of a shareholding of Man United away from the Glazers, which be interested to see where Man United go as a club now. But they haven't got that air now, have they? Teams go to Old Trafford and back themselves to win, whereas back in like the 90s, it was like if you could lose 2-0, it was a good result. But for me tomorrow, I think if Wolves can be professional and keep to the same sort of intensity that we've shown since the back end of November or December, for me, we should be winning this game tomorrow, Andy.
Yeah, completely agree. I think Jafo put it right with Man United. They've turned into, and Stu actually, his point about Liverpool, they've turned into a side who will just spend money on a big name player because he's a big name player, even though he doesn't necessarily fit into the ethos of Man United. So we're so far away from that Ferguson era of Man United that arrogance that they used to go to places with is just completely eroded. They look like a team of individuals. And when you look through the team they've got there, most of those players would probably get into, at least 15 out of the remaining 19 teams in the Premier League. There's some decent players in there, but absolutely nothing to fear about them because they've got no cohesion whatsoever. So, yeah, looking at tomorrow, I'd be disappointed if we don't get a win, to be perfectly honest.
Neil Lewis in the comment section says, "This is the one, lads. Vengeance is on." It's still a bit of a sore point, isn't it, Tom? That first game of the season away at Old Trafford, coming away with 0 points after the Onana challenge on Sasha, and we missed some big chances that night. I'm still perplexed how Cunha missed the one chance where he hit the post.
Yeah,
but like Neil said there in the comments, good chance for vengeance tomorrow.
Yeah, I was there, and I can remember because it was a couple of days after Gary O'Neill. I'm thinking, oh God, here we go, Gary O'Neill. What's the future got for us? We're at Old Trafford and have our tummies tickled. And I remember getting there within like the first 10 or 15 minutes. I'm like looking at my friend, and I'm like, what's going on? Look, we don't look too bad. Easily that day, the better team. The Onana thing was a complete joke. But Man United, culturally, sometimes it makes me think he's having an all-powerful manager like Fergie was, because you see these clubs and I always think, give the manager everything they want, give them, you've got to back the manager, let them have full control. But sometimes when you look at these like Fergie and the Wenger, and they've got all this power from top to bottom, when they leave, it does take clubs 4, 5, 6 years to actually bring it round from the top to the bottom. But Man United have just evidently not been able to do that. They've got players on huge contracts, £300,000 a week, and when you've got Casemiro and Varane, which yes, they are Champions League winners, but are they the kind of Fergie signing or that kind of player that's going to kind of give their all, to me, and run themselves into the ground, or they're just coming for an easy payday? So yeah, it would be nice to stick it back up them, because I remember walking out the ground in typical United, just giving it large, like, yeah, we're always going to win, etc., etc. When really, first game of the Gary O'Neill era, we were so close, and arguably we were better, and arguably we should have won the game. So I've got 2-1 tomorrow. 2-1, I reckon, definitely.
Yeah, we are a completely different beast, aren't we, Jeffo, from the team that started that opening game of the season. From a sort of tactical point of view on tomorrow's game, you'll see on the screen there, obviously for the audio listeners, I've put João Gomez in centre midfield in place of Tommy Doyle, but this is just me hoping for just believing that João Gomez brings a bit more intensity. Obviously, Tommy Doyle had one of his best games in a Wolves shirt on Sunday. He got absolutely side by Jed Wallace and was struggling towards the end of that game. And I think playing Thursday and then away on Sunday to Chelsea, I'd rather have Tommy Doyle away at Chelsea on Sunday. What's your opinions on the centre midfield dilemma for Gary O'Neill, Jeffo?
Yeah, I think you pretty much said it right there. I mean, João Gomez is that more tenacious player. He puts his body about a little bit more. Tommy Doyle is more of a footballer's football. Like he passes the ball well, he drops into pockets of space, nice quick passing. And against Man United in the past, where we've come unstuck is where players like Casemiro, McTominay, they've bullied players like Moutinho in the past and Neves, and they've got in and around it, and they've had more physicality. So having a João Gomez in there who can fight, and alongside Lemina, and you've got two massive warriors in the centre of midfield, they could carry the game on their own. They could win the game on their own. And against Chelsea going into the weekend, you probably will need your Tommy Doyle, because against them, they haven't got that sort of bite in the midfield. Enzo Fernandez, he's there, and you've got other players in the midfield that they won't want to fight in the same way. So having somebody who can pass the ball a little bit quicker in that sort of game would be more crucial.
Yeah,
so
that's my mindset.
Man United, you want to fight them.
I think that was one of the big things for me on the opening game of the season, Andy, was the battle between João Gomez and Casemiro. Obviously, young Brazilian coming against, experienced Brazilian. It's going to be another battle, which I'd like to see tomorrow night. But does Tommy Doyle stay in for you?
He probably does, if I'm honest, purely because I don't like to change a settled team. Tommy Doyle's been doing really well. I know you've put Ait-Nouri in there, and I love Ait-Nouri. I think he's amazing. But I think I'll stick with Doherty. I think I'll stick with the team that started against Albion, if I'm being perfectly honest, just because it's got a bit of momentum going behind it. So do you go with it? But you are right, because the match at Old Trafford, Casemiro didn't want it. Gomez, he had him on toast. He just did not want that fight, and Gomez knew it. So that's the key in that match. If those Man United midfielders don't turn up like they didn't really turn up at Old Trafford, they're fucked, because you'll just run straight through them and get at them, especially when our strength really is on ball carrying, when you've got Neto and Cunha. So that's going to be a massive, massive battle in that middle of the park.
It is a massive dilemma. I don't envy Gary O'Neill having his managerial duties tomorrow. Where do you stand on the Ait-Nouri, Matt Doherty dilemma, Tom?
I literally saw that and I thought, yeah, actually, this is a team I'd pick. But when Andy said Doherty, I think I agree. And the only reason I would probably ordinarily look, if I had to pick one left back, I'd go, right, let's go Ait-Nouri. But I think that you're going to get more of a solid performance out of Doherty. And as the game progresses, I think Ait-Nouri coming off the bench can tweak you a little bit more, especially if we're drawing or we're behind, because he's got that more attacking prowess, especially as they start to tire. So I would probably go Doherty, solid, and then probably being Ait-Nouri. But to be honest, I'd be happy either way. I'm not gonna be alarmed when I see the lineup. But in terms of the midfield, I think I would go with Gomez, just because I think if you stop, although he's a right prat, if you stop Fernandez pulling the strings, you've pretty much just stopped them, because Garnacho and Anthony are all fart no poo, but Fernandez is the one that's going to be slotting in the through balls and pulling the strings, as I say. So put Gomez against Casemiro, Lemina, Fernandez, stop that centre of the pitch. You've pretty much nullified them. And with Neto getting at Varane and Dalot, he's going to have them on toast. He'll go past them like nothing, straight like a knife through butter.
Yeah, it is going to be another classic. The game's going to be won in the midfield tomorrow. One of the other sort of noticeable changes that I've made in that starting 11 for Wolves is Pablo Sarabia in for Jean-Victor Bellegarde, which in hindsight, I feel like I've been really harsh to Bellegarde because I thought he was one of our better players on Sunday. He won us a few fouls on the break, giving our defence a bit of respite. Don't remember him giving the ball away too many times. I thought in previous months he's looked a bit sort of weak in the tussle in a few games, but I thought he really put himself about on Sunday. Who starts for you over on the right, Jeffo, Sarabia or Bellegarde?
For me, I think Sarabia should come back in. My issue with Bellegarde is just consistency. You can have a really good player turn up for 1 week, and then it drops down to being a 2 out of 10 the next week. And Sarabia before Sunday has just been on an absolute tear. He's really proved the qualities that he has got, and he's shown that he can adapt in games and adapt to what O'Neill wants to do. And he's been consistent. He's been 7 out of 10 every week for the past 2 or 3 months. And Bellegarde, he's come back from injury. He's struggled to put 2-3 really good performances together. And, I don't want to say it's just West Brom, but that their quality of what they want to do in terms of defenders is not, it's not what we're going to be facing at tomorrow night. So I think Sarabia probably has a little bit more quality, especially to influence the game and to put more important passes through and have key passes in the game. I think Sarabia will do that more.
Looking at that Man United lineup, obviously for the audio listeners, they've got Luke Shaw, Lysandro Martinez, Varane and Dalot at the back, Kobe Mainu and Casemiro in the midfield too, with Fernandes behind, Garnacho, Højlund and Anthony. Who's the threat there for you, Tom? Who are you concerned about tomorrow? I mean, for me, it's Bruno Fernandes. I think one of you mentioned it earlier. If he plays like sort of 7, 8 out of 10, we will have a bit of a tough night. But who else stands out for you?
You know what though? I'm looking at that, and this is Man United, and I know I'm getting carried away because it's beat Albion, but I'm looking at the team and I'm going, do I prefer Anthony or Neto? Do I prefer Casemiro or Gomez? Do I prefer Mainu or Lemina? And a lot of the times I'm picking, I know I'm biased, but I'm looking at that thinking, God, they're no great shakes, are they? For me, I think you just stop Fernandes. I think he's the one, although he's a right prat. Just stop Fernandes, pulling the strings. Garnacho, he's pacey. Could get in behind Semedo, arguably. Could be a slight concern. That side, Højlund, he's, I know he could, irrelevant of his price tag, but is he that major of a threat? I'll say that now, probably jinxing he'll score tomorrow. But I think if you just stop the number 10 position, Lemina, Gomez, crunch that, get the ball out wide, get Neto running at Dalot and Varane down that, Sarabia may be coming a little bit closer to Cunha. I think that would be more than enough because we're so solid defensively. And if we just keep that and let those front three go at them with such pace, the way Cunha travels with the ball as well, I think we should, technically we should be cutting them apart is what I would say. Stop number 10, keep it nice and tight at the back and let the front three do their thing. And I think that will get you 2-1.
Yeah, I think the most sort of exciting area for me tomorrow, I think this is the reason why I went with Aït-Nouri instead of Doherty. You can go to a back four with Semedo, Kilman, Dawson and Totti to hopefully handle that front three of Garnacho, Højlund and Anthony. I feel like that should be not reasonably comfortable, but I'd back those four against those three 9 times out of 10, which then we're overloading them on our left then with Aït-Nouri, Cunha and Neto against Varane, Dalot. Yeah. Not bundles of pace. Lysandro Martinez is he's just a little rat really, and he's small, he's physical, doesn't mind leaving a foot in. And then when the opportunity does come, if you've got Sarabia having acres of space to sort of pick passes in behind for Neto and Cunha, like Tom just said, you look at man for man on that screen there, and I don't see why, with our current home form, we can't be picking up a good result tomorrow, Jeffo.
Yeah, as I say, we're at a level now where we're expecting results, and it speaks volumes of what the coaching staff are doing and what the players are doing on the pitch. And you've got players there who kind of, as the game evolves and as we go into different formations as we do, and as we have been doing with the sort of going into the back four and transitioning into attack, you've got players who can pick up in different pockets. Sarabia can come into the 10. You've got Neto who can stay wide. Ainuri can come forward as sort of even into a wing position. That we give teams overloads in different areas, and it adds a little bit of chaos, a little bit of confusion to games. And that's how we're creating chances, which is good because we're offering something different every game or every attack. Players are taking up different areas, and teams don't know how to defend against us. And these patterns that we do and how we transition balls quickly and we play this quick counter-attacking football, they can't set up and they can't have a default defensive lineup against us because we do things in such weird and wonderful ways, which speaks testament to what Gary O'Neill and Sean Derry are doing.
Massively. Tom, I did hear you moments ago saying you're predicting Wolves to win 2-1 tomorrow. What's your score prediction, Andy? Are you there, Andrew? Are you lost in the ether, Andrew? Jeffo, your score prediction for tomorrow night?
I think I'm going to be 2-0 win. We're on epic form. I cannot knock the lads at the moment. For me, the only danger in that United side is Garnacho. He's the one who can really make some dangerous plays down that their left hand side. But Kilman, Semedo, they should be able to lock it down, hopefully. But I can't see him getting anything United. I just don't see us giving up goals at the moment, which is nice.
Yeah, like I mentioned, we're unbeaten in 7 now. We've got a good home record. That like I mentioned earlier, the momentum that we're building as a team and a club and a fan base at the moment, there's no reason why we can't do well the back end of this season. I'm not predicting us to go and win the FA Cup, finish in Europe, but
are you not?
No, for the reason that I don't want to jinx these guys. There's no harm in that. I believe this team can do really well, but I don't want to put pressure on this squad because the objective still at the start of the season was to stay up. Mathematically, you'd like to think that we're pretty much comfortable now, but I think like a few of the players have mentioned this week. I think Matt Doherty mentioned it on Wolves Weekly. They've still got to take it a game at a time, and I think as long as they can keep in that mindset, there's no reason we can't finish 7th, 8th. There really isn't. If we beat Man United tomorrow, we go above them. We've got Chelsea on Sunday. I think if you know what, Tom, if we could take 4 points out of the next 2 games, yeah, we can.
Yeah, agreed. Mm-hmm.
What's your sort of mindset for the rest of the season? Currently, Jeff, how far can we go in the Cup and the League for you?
Well, I'm looking at it. I can't see why we couldn't possibly get to another semi-final. I think that's an easy thing to kind of look at and say, yeah, we can focus on that. But for me, I don't see why the next 2 games are crucial. We get 4 points, like you say, at the next 2 games. We put ourselves in contention. Between us and West Ham is a limited amount of points. Whether it's 4 or 5 points between us and West Ham, who are sitting in 6th. If we keep consistency, we keep players fit, we could easily finish in a European place if we work hard enough and we get the results that we deserve.
If it wasn't for VAR, would be there.
Yeah, and the thing is, you have to kind of like do what's in front of you and fight, and play and get the results that are required. And sadly, outside factors do come into play with like VAR, like you say, but we're where we are on merit now, and we could be further up, but where we are sitting in the table, I'm quite over the moon because you look at it at the start of the season at where we were in terms of the Lopetegui saga and how O'Neill came in and how well he's been able to sort of put his own stamp on a team and his own system into place during a season. There's not many managers that could do that, and that actually speaks testament that we've got a young English manager in who can do that. And we should be proud of what we're achieving so far. But if we do end up with something like a deep into the cup run or we finish in European place, then O'Neill has to be manager of the season. And we should be absolutely proud of every player that's pulled on a shirt this season for Wolves because they've done us fucking proud.
It's massive what Gary's building at the moment. You look in sort of the recent months. It's only really the Nottingham Forest home performance, which is a bit of a blip from a mentality point of view, because the resilience that he's brought to the squad. Obviously, we picked up a draw away at Brighton. I thought we could have won that on a different offer. It was a bit more clinical with the chances that were created. Beating the Albion on Sunday, we're winning games in the past we probably wouldn't have done. And we're now picking up points against the better teams. Obviously, beating Man City and Tottenham at home this season was big wins. There's belief building. Like I said, momentum is a big thing in football. 7 games unbeaten. Man United at home next. Fans are on side after the Albion game. Andrew, I believe you're back now with us. I believe you're on mute this time, Andy.
Hope so. Yeah, I think I'm back.
Yeah, but you look. We had you in a bit of a trance. I can only think it's just how impressed you are with that Wolves lineup on the screen. What's your score prediction for tomorrow night?
I think I agree with Tom. I think 2-1. I think 2-1 will win.
It's a big game tomorrow night, but there's plenty of drinking time pre-match. So Wolves, Molineux, under the lights. Is it 8:15 kickoff tomorrow, guys?
8:15, I think.
8:15, yeah. Okay, so big game tomorrow night, and then we travel to Chelsea away on Sunday. 4 points, and it's start thinking about renewing your passports, guys. Because for me, Brighton and West Ham, their European campaign begins in March. They're going to start dropping points in the league because of squad depth. Newcastle, they had a big win at the Villa last night. The wheels have fallen off at Villa. I saw a few hashtag Emery out tweets last night on X. One of them was by me, but that's for a different time and place. So I think if we win tomorrow, I think we're 11 points behind the Villa. We've got to play them away. That's at least a point, because we've got the hoodoo over Villa. There's no reason we can't catch Villa in these last few furlongs of the season, Wolves fans. So
I ain't gonna sleep tonight, Dan. You got me pumped now. That's it.
Up the fucking wafflers, win back. Thanks for joining us on the Wolves Fancast match preview tonight in association with Shoot Music, Audi, and the Boston Coffee Company. I believe we'll be back. Are we back tomorrow night? No, maybe Friday, Saturday, or Sunday to review the Man United game. So be sure to check us out at Wolves Fancast and all across social media. Please drop a like on the episode before you leave. We thank you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and come on the Wolves tomorrow night. See you later.